One other thing I wanted to talk about today, and this is obviously something that everyone is probably aware of by now, but Rising on the Hill is officially over. Krystal Ball and Saagar Enjeti have been co-hosting the show now for about 2 years, and it really got popular during the Democratic primary when Bernie Sanders was coming up again, and also their interview with Andrew Yang did big numbers. But really, they kind of emerged as this interesting dynamic where it's someone on the left and someone on the right, but both people that don't really agree with the orthodoxy or establishment of the parties. Obviously, Krystal Ball massively critical of the Democratic Party and the direction of the neoliberal Democrats, and Saagar being incredibly having a lot of criticisms of the Republican Party and kind of the deficit hawk nature, the Reagan era, politics that continue to define the Republican Party. So I think it was interesting that they were able to do the show on a platform as big as The Hill, given the fact that they really did often deviate from the mainstream narratives. As far as, shows platformed on a mainstream network like The Hill, a corporate entity, I think it was hands down one of the best, as far as actually platforming and facilitating interesting cutting edge conversations with people that were kind of on the vanguard. To be honest, they had a lot of interesting voices on there. So I think it's interesting that they're going to be wrapping up. I'm interested in exactly what spurred this decision, because it hasn't exactly been made clear. Some people are suggesting that potentially The Hill might have pulled the plug on them. But other people are saying that it was completely amicable. So I'm not.
I think it seems like it was amicable. Look, I think that judging by what I can tell about Krystal, at least, and for sure what I got from that first little, if you listen to the Krystal Kyle interview with Vosh at the beginning, they talk a little bit about it, and Kyle was super gung-ho talking shit about how he's super excited for them to be in indie media and all that kind of shit. He was super gung-ho about it, and Krystal was like, oh, they've been good to us at The Hill, like I don't have anything to say right now. So that leads me to believe that it's one of two things, one being dramatically more likely than the other, which was that it was an amicable split, their contracts were up, and they were like, hey guys, instead of coming back, we're just going to go ahead and do our own thing working with me and Saagar. Then there's like maybe a 5% chance that there's something legal going on, and that's why they couldn't talk about it, and that she's continuing to say it's amicable. But I just think that the evidence would point so much more in the fact that it was probably the end of the road for their contract, 2 years. And instead of re-signing with whatever they were offered, they were like, we don't need that. And I from what I understand, Krystal's not somebody that is, or she may be best described as post-economic. I don't believe she's concerned about her paycheck, paying her bills, if you know what I mean. So then you have a lot more financial freedom to walk away from a job like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I did want to play this clip of them. We don't have to listen to the whole thing necessarily, but sure. I did want to listen to some of their discussion about their exit and what's next. And then also I want to talk about what's next for The Hill and Rising as a show.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
We do indeed have an amazing show for you today. We got David Sirota on. We've got Kyle Kondik on with a preview of the midterms. But we also have some big news, which is that today is going to be our last day at The Hill doing Rising here, which we feel a lot of praise about. Nervous, sad, excited for the next chapter, grateful, all of those things.
Yeah, and look, we've had an amazing run here. It's almost 2 years to the day since I believe I officially became your co-host, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
I didn't even think
2 years
that.
to the day. We're taping this on May 27th. So May 27th, 2019, that's around exactly whenever we took over. And look, what we did here, it was amazing. And the people here, we could never have done it without them. And I want to read here from a list. I hope I don't forget anybody.
Sorry to all these people who don't care.
The two of us, we came together. I don't think we had any idea this is what was going to happen.
No, truly not. When we started at The Hill, when we started posting on YouTube, 5,000 subscribers. You guys liked what we were doing. You showed up for us, and we are so incredibly grateful to you guys for doing all of that. And for the team here, I mean, my goodness, Saagar just read off that really long list, and I'm sure there are way more people than that who've contributed to making this thing, just making it possible. I mean, we have a lot of support here on and off air every single day that don't get the praise, that don't get the limelight, but are back there making sure that what we're doing is the quality and the pace that you expect. And I want to specifically thank Jimmy Finkelstein, who gave us the chance to sense of those things. Sometimes we get things right, sometimes we get them wrong, but I hope you guys know we're always trying to bring you the most accurate information without fear or favor, without any sort of partisan cheerleading or trying to flack for our team. That's what we've tried to do our best here every day. And so this chapter is ending. A new chapter is going to begin for Saagar and I. To find out what that is, to be the first to find that out, just sign up at krystalandsaagar.com. You can enter your email there, and we're going to have some big news for you next week about what's coming next. You probably know we both also have podcasts that we're going to continue to do.
Of us, but look, at the same time, please stick around here at the Hill. They've got big plans, they've got good things, and I know that the team, many of the core team is remaining as well. They're very intelligent and great people who've helped us from the very beginning. So stick around, you can give them a shot. We cannot be excited more to see what's next. And to all of you who came up to me on the street and told me how much the show means to you, it means a lot. So thank you, and we'll see you soon.
We have loved it here, guys. Thank you so much. krystalandsaagar.com to find out what's next. And we do have a great show for you, so stick around.
It is a little bit bittersweet, and again, despite my criticisms of the right populist element or whatever, I will miss the show. You know, I have enjoyed their commentary and dynamic, and I look forward to seeing what's next.
Yeah, you know, I enjoyed a lot of segments that The Hill has done. They have a lot of, I'm sorry, The Rising has done. I don't watch anything else that The Hill has done besides Rising. I don't think anybody does. But it was definitely a good, well-produced kind of a show. Like you and I have talked about, they definitely were kind of in their own lane as far as, you know, new independent media with their ability to put out a show with the budget that they had, with the production value that they had. It's not just a podcast like a lot of us do. It is a MSNBC style, or, you know, not, you know, substantively, but at least like production wise, that kind of a show. Yeah, and I think that element really is good for indoctrinating new people into our kind of ideas. Obviously, I disagree massively with Saagar. I even, when I first started getting into Rising, I actually wrote a piece of engaging with some of Nathan Robinson's of Current Affairs, his critiques of Rising, some of which I thought were really valid, even though I thought the piece overall read as really petulant and whiny. But yeah, I think that, and yeah, we would cry if the Vanguard got kicked off. But I think that overall, I'm ready to see what they do next. I don't love Saagar's commentary. I occasionally it's good to get insight into the right wing mind, I guess. But he just like after I'll be honest, guys. After the George Floyd shit, I really tuned out on Rising. I got mad like 4 days in a row watching Rising, and I was like, I can't have this in my life. Fuck this shit. I was pissed that Krystal wasn't fucking raging at Saagar, because I thought that a lot of his opinions on that were completely unacceptable. But
she did
talk about that.
Yeah, about how that was.
I think she agrees with me that his opinions were unacceptable. I kind of like you said when they were talking to Vosh, like I just would get that feeling where I was like, if you let me into that room right now, I would be saying so much different shit. And that kind of worked me up a little bit, but. Other than that, I think they've done so many tremendous segments that they've brought in a lot of people. I do fear the horseshoe theory. No, the populist right is not the same as the populist left. They do not have the same goals. They do not share our goals. But I'm, again, able and happy to organize on actually, like Vosh said, like on solutions, even though I'm actually prepared to, apply those values.
One last thing before we go on this matter, because this was hilarious. The Hill put this video out in the wake of their exit, and I was like, oh, that'll be interesting. Let's see a preview of what's next for the Hill. What I was not expecting is this hilarious video. Check it out. So the reason that's hilarious, if you weren't aware, is because it says we've been the best show on YouTube for years, which is so funny because they literally like the Hill was nothing as of 2 years ago, and the only reason why they're anything is because of Krystal and Saagar. And now that Krystal and Saagar are leaving, I think we all know what direction the show and the network is going in.
Guys, the other thing that they put is they were like holding media to account, like the Hill isn't a fucking establishment, fucking outlet. It'd be like it's so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, the Hill is not.
That's what my beef with Rising the whole time has been. When people want to pretend that they're just like us, that they were just independent media folks, like they weren't, guys. They were not. This is their first foray into independent media, and I think if we're being so Lisa, a huge graphic design is my passion energy. That's funny.
Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, I think exactly, it is going to just kind of degrade itself, and I think that you're going to have to notice the fact that Saagar and Krystal, whatever they do, it's going to get dramatically less views than the Hill got, also because they're not going to get that algorithmic bump. You're going to notice maybe not as dramatic, but I would imagine the drop that you saw similar to Rolling Stone when Useful Idiots was getting a shit ton of views, guys, before they left Rolling Stone, and now like they're doing better than our podcast, but I mean, they've taken a fall. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying that's what happens when the algorithm stops bumping your shit up. And so that's one dynamic at play here. The other thing is that they had a really good thing going on. Like all my problems with Saagar's politics aside, the back and forth between Saagar and Krystal, A1, they really complemented each other as hosts. If they're able to replicate that, they'll still be successful. That is like the only good part of watching Rising, was watching them engage and watching them engage with the guests sometimes. But I think most people were really selective about what we watched from the Rising clips. Nobody really watches the whole show. I mean, at least that's my experience. You just kind of watch a clip that you like or something that catches your eye, and each clip is going to do wildly differently. One clip could have like 200,000 views and the other one could have like 50,000 views, right? So still big numbers. Depending on the space you're looking at, that would be just incredible numbers for us, but for like the news media, a little bit less impressive. And they're just going to continue to sink, I think, where you'll see like maybe an average of like 30,000 views at first, and then
and you're absolutely right that regardless of your opinions on their politics, Krystal Ball and Saagar Enjeti are both excellent, extremely compelling hosts. They're very good at communicating their ideas, and they actually have an underlying philosophy which makes their commentary interesting. Again, they're not reactionaries. You actually believe that what they're saying is their actual opinion, and that is admittedly kind of a rare quality. A lot of people in the media space are literally just bobbleheads. They're just reading off a fucking teleprompter, and they really don't have anything interesting to say themselves. So again, what made the show interesting was that it was a little bit unpredictable. You didn't know if Saagar or Krystal were going to have an unorthodox take that day, or if they were going to, push back on a popular narrative that's being espoused by their respective camps. And that's what made the show interesting. Going forward, I fail to see how they're going to recapture that lightning in a bottle, especially if they replace Krystal with Ryan Grimm and Saagar with Emily Jasinski, which looks like is the direction they're going in. And I don't think that's official yet, but apparently they're going to be doing like kind of a trial run this next month with Ryan Grimm and Emily Jasinski becoming the new co-hosts of Rising. And, with all respect to those people, they're both nice individuals, and, I'm sure they're both perfectly smart or whatever. They're not compelling in the same way that Krystal and Saagar were. And they're also not as unpredictable and just generally interesting. Like I said, they're more predictable. You know what Ryan Grimm is going to say when he opens his mouth or espouses an opinion on something for the most part. Let's be honest. And Emily Jasinski, to the extent that I am familiar with her, seems to just be kind of a normie conservative. Not really the populist right winger in the same kind of styling as Saagar. So I just fail to see how it's going to be interesting or retain any of the viewership that made the show successful in the first place. Maybe they can find a new demographic to exploit, but certainly I'm not going to be tuning in to listen to Ryan Grimm and Emily Jasinski read me the news in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
No, I would much rather just, I mean, like, look, obviously we've had massive amounts of disagreements with Ryan. He's been on our show. We have a small professional relationship with the guy. I would much rather read his writing than watch him present. That's all I'm saying. He's very, very articulate with the written word. Great presence on the paper. But anyway,